G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Eno here from Fantasy Take TV. Today I'll be going over the round 4 review. Didn't go too well for myself. I think the best 22 this week, as I put it in a tweet last night, sort of exposed my team and the structure. There's been quite a few good 500k type cheaper picks this year, and I mean I had one of myself in Nick Martin who I traded out, but Jack Steele who I don't also have, and just I've paid up for too many top end premiums, and when they don't perform on a week like this, when it's best 22, then you do get exposed a bit. So yeah, it was a little bit under par, but at this point in the season, still being around 40k rank, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle from here, but it's still not over. There's things you can do. Need premiums to perform, obviously, better than they did this week, but I still think the team's in a pretty decent spot. I've just got to be really mindful of my trades, which I haven't been up until this point in the season. I've wasted a couple of boosts already. As I said, trade out Nick Martin, trade out Hayden Young. Had Riley Bonner as well and got rid of him after his 50, and he's gone, ton and then a 90. So it's been a tough season watching players like that. And I'm sure a few of you in the similar boats, but sort of my team overall, the structure with a lot of high-end premiums, when they don't perform, it does get exposed a bit. And there's a couple of mid prices I do have, have all sort of been pretty average at best. We traded out Billings this week. Jordan, you would have expected better against West Coast, and he sort of hasn't been that good of a pick. So 21.78, still sitting at about 40k, and we've got a bit of an uphill battle to go, but we're in it for the long run, and we'll see how we go. So, Stewart, you pay what you pay for him at the start of the season. When he drops to 77 like that, his break even shoots up. It's 168 this week, and he, when there's picks like Yo and Hayden Young, who I did have, but guys like that who for cheaper prices are putting up, better numbers, then it's not too good. So hopefully he can come out with a big one soon, because we will need it. Sheasel's been very good. Whitfield we actually got in for this week, so with Dacos, expected to be tagged, which he was, I kind of wanted to get off that, and again, I'm using my boosts and trades very poorly, where trying to fix things that I had at the start of the season, like I had Bonner in my team just before round 1, got rid of him, and then got him back in after his round 1 performance. Didn't have Nick in my team, and after his 50, I should have traded him probably out instead of Hayden Young, and had Young still in the team. So just trying to fix things that, I could use those boosts later on for better things. I really wish we didn't have them. I'll be honest, and that's not an excuse. They still are poor decisions by me in using them to trade out those players, but it's just trying. I know we've had it for a year or two now, but trying to figure out, and now with the extra trades as well, it's just not SuperCoach anymore, and it's a bit different to what I know for years and years. So trying to be aggressive and thinking that's the way to play has actually probably been punished this year still early on. So I think people with 3 or 4 boosts still are gonna have much better use for them sort of coming out of these early buys, and I'm only going to have 2 left. So I'm definitely not going to use them until that sort of upgrade period begins in a couple of weeks. But there's a couple of rookies coming up on the horizon. If they become must-have, I have to really choose wisely there. So, Whitfield, look, we know what happened in that game. I was sort of busy at the time, so I wasn't watching intently, but heard he went off and was off the ground pretty much the whole second quarter. But, he salvaged a decent score. He does play this week instead of Dacos, and he's got the Saints matchup, so hopefully he scores really well in that. And then obviously we'll look to get Dacos back in a couple of weeks, probably in time for Anzac Day, when he'll tear the Bombers apart. Massimo, look, he's made 100k or something, so he's he hasn't been a total fail pick, but a bit baited into that one again, just like Billings, just like a couple of others. So it's funny enough, Bonner's turned out to be one of the better, or probably the best 200 and something k pick in the end, and he's the one I traded out. So we still need to fix up this defense over the next couple of weeks. So obviously look at Closey, who looked really good, 102k defender, who I'm sure we'll talk about on the podcast. But yeah, when you look in the midfield and you see, bonk Green, butter Sarong, and you only get like 110 average between them. That's not going to do well in a best 22 week. They really need to perform. I'm fielding like a Howes, which some people might have pushed to the bench by now. And then I've got Jackson as well, at 600k, only scoring 90. It's just a lot of money in these top end premiums when, as I said, some people probably have the extra premium over me even at this early stage, which I need to work towards this week. So I've got 220k in the bank and I'll be using it, obviously. So yeah, I didn't field Reed this week either, which hurt a bit. Lost about 30 or 25 points there on Carroll. Captain Gorn and VC Gorn and took it instead of, going a Heaney or something. So missed a few more points there as well. But yeah, look, overall happy with the team. I wish obviously Jeremy Sharp was on my mid-bench somewhere instead of one of these two guys, but it was pretty hard to envisage. So I think sort of Carroll was who I went late, and with Walsh probably back next week, he might even go out of the whole side altogether. And whilst he's made 100k and been pretty good rookie for us, he's going to, his job security and future cash gen is going to be a bit stunted. So Sharp's just got that 130. His role's obviously set in that team and he's going to continue to make more. And so that'll be another probably 100k missed out on there. And then, yeah, we have two big rucks. We've got Heaney and Jackson. So I'm not going to speak about the whole team too much. Obviously back to best 18 this week. We'll field Harley Reid, of course. We have to get Isaac off the field for one of these boys. And then obviously Sexton's been dropped as well. So the way the team's looking this week, I'm pretty confident in it. But obviously Jordan has to go. He hasn't been as good as we hoped. And then I'm really got to look at a Flanders in the forward line. It's sort of time to get him in. Been a good starting pick anyway. Averaging 120. I didn't think he'd do that, or obviously hoped he didn't do that, even with his early buy. So having to pay a bit more for him now than what he started at. Playing off half back, I'm sure we'll talk about in the podcast. Do we like that as much as his sort of fourth CBA role in the team? I didn't watch the game, as I said, as intently as others. So I'd be keen to know what people thought of him. He scored 125, so it couldn't have gone too badly. I don't think he had any kickouts, or kick-ins, which obviously you would like to raise the floor a bit. But the forward line's so dire that I think Flanders is easily going to be top 6 and probably top 3 in the forward line for the season. So I don't think it's going to be too bad for him playing off half back. And then the question becomes, do I go early on a rookie like a closey? So just do one of these and Marty Hall, whoever, get closey in and leave it at that. The question becomes, how long do I hold on to Luke Jackson for now? So, if Shrek's picked this week, the Port matchup's still quite good, and I still even think with 30-40% ruck time, Jackson can score pretty well. And then they do have West Coast the week after, and it's sort of probably end up holding him for 2 more weeks. But his break even is 150 this week. If you cop another 90 like we did this week, he's going to start losing money, and then you're not really got the best out of him, really. He's average 120 for us. He's made 50, 60k, whatever. Do we just take that now and that's the pick? It probably wasn't as... Look, it was pretty good, but it probably wasn't as good as we'd liked. Obviously, Shrek probably missing a couple more games would have been perfect, which we'll find out. They've said he's coming in this week, but there's no guarantees. Or do we just, again, it's probably what I've done for the first 4 weeks of the season, but fix a pick that I was not keen on, going back and forth pre-season. That's Jack Steele, and he found a way out of my team just before the season, and he's been unbelievable. So that's probably more the way I'm leaning. Steele's still pretty gettable at his price. He looks like he's going to be one of the top 8, top 10 mids this year. I think the next couple of weeks are a bit more difficult than what he's had. They've barely... And part of my reasoning when I was looking at him pre-season is they barely played a midfield in these first 4 weeks. Geelong, a lot of new faces in there. Pies struggling in there. Essendon, a couple of decent mids in there, but not the best midfield in the league. And then the Tigers just truly battling in the mids this year with no one. That was part of my thinking to picking him. And obviously, the 12, 14, 17% now that own him, I've been enjoying the rewards. Gets a bit harder with the Giants, maybe Dogs, and then Port the next few weeks, but then opens up again with, North, Hawthorn, Freo. Pretty decent matchup. Melbourne haven't been hard to score on in recent times. West Coast. It gets pretty good. And I think out of all those sort of mid 500 mids that were options at the start of the year, he's clearly the one that's most likely to be a keeper and probably is. So I think I'll do that for now. Obviously, we'll wait to see what happens with Jackson and Big Shrek with team news, but it sort of gets me that fifth mid. And then Nick Martin's the other one I'm thinking of. So it's sort of two of these three really I'd go between Flanders, Nick Martin, and Steele. But with structure-wise, obviously Nick Martin can't sit in the defence just as yet. He's a little bit cheaper than the other two, although, mind you, he's going to shoot up more in price with only a 30 break even. It's just so ridiculous that we pick him and trade him out and he goes 130 back-to-back. So he'll be a little bit more affordable, maybe 560, 580 with a couple of tons just in time for DPP. And do we just pick him up then? It's going to be a bit more annoying at a higher price, but we do also need to get Dacos back. So I think I really have to pick, and I think with Flanders, the forward line being very dire, and then with Steele, it really is between Steele and Martin, I think, as to which way I go. So it's a tough decision. I think we just for now do that and loop Carroll with Wilson. But yeah, let me know what you think in regards to that for my team. Probably Captain Bont or Green. But that's how the team's looking this week. So, yeah, I'll just talk about my team here. We'll talk more about, obviously, overall picks and stuff on the podcast tonight. But obviously got to look at those Gold Coast rookies. So Closey and Will Graham as well is out there. Combin's out there as well. So that's my slight concern if I don't grab one this week that I become stuck next week and have to choose between two of the three if they all look really good. I guess worst comes to worst, I can pick Graham or a Closey after a price rise. Say Graham plays well again. I'm a bit more confident in Closey, so I think it'd be Graham the one that I wait on. But let's say he's 150, 160k, something like that. And still looks a really good option. Role solidified after 3 weeks. We can still maybe grab him from a Clark or something like that. And got DPP too, which is nice. So he can, unlock some trades there. I think that's where I'll probably sit. So let me know what you think with my team. It's probably better than what I'm coming up with so far this season because it hasn't gone well to date. But yeah, we'll have to wait on some news and some players. So Williams, I think, might have an injury concern. Pardon me. Also, who's the other one? Yeah, Jackson news, obviously. With how Freo line up. And then I've still got to fix a few of these rookies. So, got to fix Hoare and Reed. Obviously, Closey will be one of those. Got to fix, Clark and Wilson are probably going to end up being traded out. Carroll as well. So, still Sexton down there. Few to fix up over the next couple of weeks. So, I think the next 2 weeks will probably mostly just be downgrades. Getting some better rookies in. Maybe build up a little bit more of a bank, obviously. And then we'll have to get Nick Dacos back in just in time for once the buys are over. So he'll be probably the next priority upgrade. And then we just, continue to upgrade. I think the forward line I'm happy with, once Heaney's back in there, just sort of rolling with that. Heaney, Flanders, Powell, Reed, Dempsey, Darcy, and sort of Cadman floating there until we figure out who's next. Because who knows, really, I think Shea Bolton had a really good game this week. Well, I know he did. But he can obviously be a frustrating own. There's a few key forwards floating about. Obviously, Mackay and Hogan. Zorko, I don't really want to touch, but it's a really funny line this year. So I think just keeping it with Heaney, Flanders, Powell, and then some rookies who I'm confident in, like a Reed, Dempsey, and even a Darcy for a while is probably where I'll sit. So, happy with the team. Obviously not happy with the scoring and where I'm ranked at this current point in time, but there's obviously still plenty of time left to make it up. And we'll we'll probably just revert to hosting the podcast and letting the other boys talk about their teams for the time being. But it's been a tough start to the year. I know a few people are doing well, so good luck to you out there. But there's plenty of time left. You can always come back from it. So that's what we'll aim to do. We'll catch you on the podcast, and then obviously good luck this week, and we'll see you on the review for round 5. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers. Got the mojo deals, we been tripping like 80. Pulling out the coupe at the lot.